What if the fact that nothing makes sense anymore means that you've outgrown the story that you weren't meant to live for the rest of your life? In today's video, we're going to be talking about those moments in life where everything feels upside down, when the things that used to make sense to us suddenly don't. And we're going to discover how that might mean that you're closer to the life you should be living than you think. And at the end, I'm going to share one simple question that you can ask yourself, which will help you go from being completely stuck to finally moving forward to the life that's actually meant for you. So if that sounds good, stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Roy, and I create these videos to create internal insights for external transformation. Now, I remember a part of my life not that long ago, just a couple of years, where everything just stopped making sense. I was exhausted, anxious, lost, and completely disconnected from myself. Every day felt like I was moving through treacle, and the things that once gave me purpose suddenly felt empty. But then, almost by accident, I started meeting people who felt the same as me. I got involved in communities, and I suddenly got surrounded by people who were asking the deeper questions, trying to make sense of their own chaos. And somehow, by being surrounded by these people, I started to get my light back, and my life started rebuilding itself, not in the old way, but in a completely new way. So are you standing in that exact spot that I was back then, between who you were and who you're becoming? Let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear from you and support you on your journey. Now, there's a fantastic book that I read quite a while ago now. It's by a guy called Joseph Campbell, and it's called The Hero's Journey. You may have heard of it. Now, he studied myths and stories through the centuries from all around the world, and he found that every great story, every transformation follows the same path. And here's the really interesting part. Every movie that we watch also follows this path. There's always that moment when things stop making sense, when that familiar world around us starts to crumble. And then the hero has no choice but to step into the unknown. Now, Campbell is quoted as saying, "The cave you fear to go into holds the treasure that you seek." And that line has stuck with me, because that's exactly how this moment feels when we're in it, doesn't it? The confusion, the doubt, the emptiness. It's the cave. It's that threshold between who we've been and who we're becoming. Now, maybe you're standing at that threshold right now, and I'd just like to offer you, maybe life isn't breaking down. Maybe it's breaking open. What if this chaos, this not knowing, is your initiation? Your own hero's journey beginning to unfold. Now, Joseph Campbell observed that every story begins the same. The hero goes off without knowing where they're going. They take that first step with curiosity, and that's what ends up transforming them. And it's the same for us, but quite often we want to know what the next move is before we actually take it. But it often only makes sense after we've made that move. So if you're in that space now where nothing makes sense, you feel disconnected, maybe this is your first step over the threshold. Now, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to walk into the unknown. And if you do that, even with fear, even with doubt, life starts to reveal itself in ways that you could not have planned. You begin to see that everything uncertain, painful, or confusing was never working against you. It was shaping you into the person that you need to be to live your dream life. Because when life stops making sense, it's often because you're expanding beyond the version of yourself that created that old sense. The plans, the labels, the expectations, they're too small now. You're growing into something bigger, something truer. So here's the question that I offered you at the beginning. This one question can help you to shift everything. Next time something happens in your life that's uncomfortable, instead of asking yourself, Why is this happening to me? Try asking yourself, what is this trying to teach me? And that single shift turns confusion into curiosity. And curiosity is what leads to clarity. Now, if you want to go deeper with this work, why not watch some of the other videos on my channel, or drop me a message or comment below and tell me what you're struggling with at the moment. If there's any way I can help you through my own experiences, I'd love to. Now remember, when life stops making sense, it's not the end of the story. It's the moment you finally begin to live it. Thank you for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you have a great day.